Yogacarabhumi-sastra, translated chapters by Maitreya Bodhisattva, translated into English by Venerable Shi Chuan Guan, Mr. Li Cheng Sun, based on Chinese translated text by Master Xuan Zang. Stage of actualization of contemplation has been taught. What is meant by stage of actualization of cultivation? In brief, there are 4 areas which are known to universally encompass stage of actualization of cultivation. What are the 4 areas? 1. Habitat of cultivation. 2. Causes and conditions for cultivation. 3. Cultivation of yoga. 4. Fruits of cultivation. Thus are the 4 areas that are encompassed by 7 branches. What are these 7? 1. Completeness of birth. 2. Completeness of hearing of right dharma. 3. Nirvana as the foremost importance. 4. Maturation of the potential wisdom for liberation. 5. Cultivation of countermeasures. 6. Purification of all worldly seeds. 7. Purification of unworldly seeds. In this way, the 4 areas and 7 branches encompassing all the meanings of the enlightened teachings are to be known in full elaboration. Based on the well-spoken Dharma Vinaya, all practices can be completed. What is meant by completeness of birth? In brief, there are 10 types. There are 5 dependent on internal, 5 dependent on external, summing up to 10 types dependent on both internal and external. What is meant by 5 dependents on internal within completeness of birth? That is, 1. Completeness of common division. 2. Completeness of habitat. 3. Completeness of dependent. 4. Completeness of absence of obstacles related to karma. 5. Completeness of absence of obstacles related to faith and understanding. By completeness of common division is meant, a being is born among humans, gains an able body with no mental or physical defect. By completeness of habitat is meant, a being is born among humans within central regions and not in the outskirts. In such habitats there is 4-fold community: bhikshu or Buddhist monks, bhikshuni or Buddhist nuns, upasaka or Buddhist laymen, and upasika, Buddhist lay women. Not to be born among people in whom there are no 4-fold community and no virtuous or enlightened ones who speak and practice according to the Dharma. By completeness of dependent is meant, a being is born within central regions, has no physical handicap, is mentally receptive, and is able to comprehend all the meanings of the well-spoken and ill-spoken, wholesome and unwholesome teachings. By completeness of absence of obstacles related to karma is meant, a being, having fulfilled completeness of dependent, does not commit nor instruct others to commit any of the 5 heinous deeds. If one does so, one is definitely unable to attain enlightenment in that life. By completeness of absence of obstacles related to faith and understanding is meant, a being who has definitely not committed the 5 heinous deeds does not arise faith and understanding toward unwholesome places nor see purity in them. Unwholesome places refer to various deviant devas and other heterodox schools. Due to one's prolonged exposure to the Buddha's well-spoken teachings and cultivation of pure faith in his past lives, a person in his present life arises faith and understanding in the enlightened practices only, and sees purity in them. What is meant by 5 dependents on external, found in completeness of birth? That is, 1. Completeness of great teacher. 2. Completeness of the establishment of right worldly dharma. 3. Completeness of accomplishment of the right ultimate dharma. 4. Completeness of non-cessation of right practice. And 5. completeness of supportive requisites. By completeness of great teacher is meant a Pudgala has the 5 internal dependents for completeness of birth, and encounter the birth of the great teacher, that is the Tathagata, a perfectly enlightened one, the knower and seer of all, who has no obstruction with all phenomena. By completeness of the establishment of right worldly dharma is meant a Pudgala, encountering the birth of a Buddha and his teaching on wholesome and unwholesome dharma, on morality, etc., elaborating up to dependent origination teachings and its broad analysis, that is, sutra, gaya or recited verse, vikarana or accomplishing foretelling, gatha or verse, prose, udana or self-exclamation, nidana or dependent origination, avadana or parable, itrataka or this was said, Jataka or birth stories, Vaipulya or extensive, Abhuta Dharma or rare Dharma, and Upadesa or commentarial. By completeness of accomplishment of the ultimate truth is meant, with the skillful teaching of the right worldly Dharma by the great teacher or Buddha, the disciples relying on these teachings and further receiving others' guidance and teachings, practices the 37 factors of enlightenment and attains fruits of a Shramana. Having accomplished completeness of the fruits of a Shramana, one is able to further develop, enhance, and attain superior and immense practices and merits. By completeness of non-cessation of right practice is meant, although the world-honored Buddha has entered nirvana, the right worldly Dharma has not yet ceased, and the right ultimate Dharma has neither become concealed nor ceased. By completeness of supportive requisites is meant, with the presence of the 4 requisites that is supportive of the receiving and using practice of the Dharma, one can then learn and practice the Dharma. All the faithful lay elders, householders, Brahmins, etc., knowing that others, the Sangha, are able to fulfill the holy life through the learning and practice of the Dharma, fears that they will regress in the Dharma if the requisites are lacking. Hence, they earnestly and diligently offer all types of robe, food, furniture, and medicinal supportive items. In this way, dependent on the internal and external completeness of birth, are the 10 types named. These 10 types of completeness of birth are named habitats for yogic meditation practice. Dependent on this, with these established habitats as dependents, are all the enlightened Dharma, enlightenments of the Buddha's disciples attained.